Hello, everybody. We are here to talk Weapons, the newest movie in theaters. Ben, welcome. I am Tyler. You know that, but everybody else might not. What did you think of Weapons, directed by Zach Cregger and starring a whole lot of people, including Julia Garner and Josh Brolin? What first overall thoughts of this movie?
Yeah, I thought it was really solid. I mean, I definitely haven't been scared, I think, by a horror movie like this in a while. And
So
I don't
this
know if
did
that's just
creep
due to
you out.
It did, for sure. I think
Okay.
a lot of the best value, I think, was like from the jump scares and just like the camera placement and a lot of those shots where it's like really slowly like creeping over to like where you think the jump scare is gonna happen, and it's like slowly panning over. And just I feel like I haven't had that like sense of dread watching a movie like in a long
Okay.
time.
I'm
But
interested to talk about that more because
it kind of hit you like early on with the jump scares.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested to talk about that more later because I kind of had the opposite take. Like I didn't feel like it had a lot of the scare factor for me. But it did some other things really well, I think. So
Really?
I'm
Yeah.
kind of in agreement with you. Like it's a good movie, and people should go see it if you're looking for this sort of thing. It's definitely on the spookier side. It's got the tension. It's got the dark themes to it and all of that. I guess just to give a little synopsis before we really jump in. Weapons is a movie directed, like I said, by Zach Cregger that features an entire classroom minus one kid disappearing at 2:17 a.m. on one night. So the teacher, played by Julia Garner, comes into the classroom and there's just the one kid sitting there, and the rest of it is a mystery to sort of unravel what is happening, why it happened, all of those things, and then come to some sort of resolution. The story is told through, think like Pulp Fiction-style, where it's narrative and it sticks with a character for a while.
Right.
Versus just going in order front to end. So things you'll see in one character's perspective, you'll see in the other and in the next one, but from a different point of view. So you will
what's very derivative from Tarantino.
Yeah.
In that way.
But you get to see kind of where different characters are coming from in, over the course of the film. And then in the third act, it all kind of ties together pretty nicely. So
totally.
Without spoilers, because we'll get into spoilers here in a sec. Because this is a movie, Ben, I feel like it's hard to talk about without getting into spoilers, really.
Yeah, it really is.
But what I will say is this. The trailers for this did this justice because everything in the trailers, minus like maybe one thing, is pretty much in the first 10 minutes of the film. Like, I like that when horror movies do that because you're not spoiling anything. Too many trailers spoil shit now, and
I'm not a fan. They release like 3 trailers before the movie comes out, and the third one just is the whole movie.
Right.
I know.
I feel like comedies, especially. I never feel like I need to go see a comedy, ever.
Oh yeah. You already see it on the trailers.
I've pretty much seen all the funniest bits on the screen. So,
yep, exactly.
But this one, everything you see in the trailer, for the most part, is right away in the film, including the kids all disappearing. Like, they all run off into the night at 2:17, and the rest of the film
very
is
like Stephen King-esque.
It is. It's very King-esque. And then the rest of the film is leaving us to kind of piece together what happened. So I kind of like that we don't start with like the whole lead up to it and then have that event happen half an hour in. It happens right away.
Right. Sure.
And then we're just dropped in with these characters as they go. What'd you think of that? Did you like that as well?
Yeah, I kind of like that. Like you're sort of discovering everything with the characters as it happens, as it unfolds. I think there was a lot of, they would sort of extend the current character's story a little bit and then take you back with the next story, which was kind of cool. Like getting like the last 10 minutes of the last story in the next character's point of view, if that makes sense. So yeah, I definitely like that style for sure.
Yep. And I think all the characters got a good amount of time. One, I think, got too much, and we'll get into that in the spoilers. I think it was just a little maybe too much screen time. But before the spoilers piece, the last point I'll make is like, What is your take on Julia Garner? Because like,
Yeah, I know she's kind of like a horror movie darling at this point, I
I mean,
guess.
yeah, but is she like, I don't know. Like, okay, so I found her character to be just maddening at times in this film.
Yeah, very main character of a horror movie energy,
Oh
almost
yeah.
like to a ridiculous
Like, you
extent.
know, the person in your life that just has that main character syndrome.
Yeah,
Anyway,
totally.
like that's her. Like this is her in this. And you can tell like everybody
I'm
around
always
her
the
is
victim.
super annoyed by her. But then she's
Yes.
rewarded for this shitty behavior, like by being right
Yeah.
half the time. So I don't know.
Right.
It was
It's
annoying.
justified.
I I know she's done a lot of horror movies. She did Wolfman earlier this year.
Hmm.
She was just Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four, which I thought she did really well.
Oh, was she? I didn't even
Yeah.
know that. That's cool.
So this one though, like, man, I if it's maybe it's just playing the character well, and I'm supposed to like feel this way about the character. I don't know. But
She was
normally,
really solid in. I don't know if you saw the show Ozarks
I
or
haven't yet.
Ozark.
I
Yeah,
haven't.
I
I
think it's called
should.
Ozark.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a Breaking Bad light, maybe a little funnier kind of edge, but she's really solid in that.
Okay, I'll have to check that
There's
out
a lot of
because
suspense elements for sure.
yeah, I thought that was like the one role slash casting choice that was maybe I don't know. I don't know if it quite fit, but maybe it did. I don't. It might
Yeah,
just be I'm not supposed to like the character as much. I don't know.
right. I think that's part of it. Honestly, I think I definitely get that because yeah, she kind of comes off as just a little inept, and she doesn't really do a ton. I think honestly, the most character you kind of see from her is how much she cares for, um, like the main kid.
The
Which
boy
one was
Alex,
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Alex, and kind of looking out for him, which
Also, how much
sort
she
of sets up
cares
the
for
whole
vodka. She likes
story.
vodka a lot.
Yes,
Um,
big
she's like
vodka.
double grabbing bottles at the liquor store. Like she is,
I know.
to be fair, she's dealing with some stuff here,
She's going
right?
through a
Like
lot.
she's
Yeah.
going through some things, but she's being accused by parents, because a lot of this film is about how people deal with grief and loss and pain and all those things. But
Yes.
and you see that from different points of view, like her as the teacher it's just her classroom that disappears. The
Mm,
parents that are trying to process this and really looking for someone or something to blame.
right.
And she's the easiest target. And then every character in this film is like flawed in some way or another.
Yes.
Probably the least of which is the Alex character because he's just a little kid.
He's just a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Can't blame him.
everybody else I think is pretty flawed in this. The principal, right, has his
Yeah.
things. Definitely the cop played by young Han Solo, Alden
Oh
Ehrenreich.
yeah. He's a little problematic.
Yep. And Josh Brolin's character, like you can
Yes.
see he like leads with anger most of the time and all these things, and it comes to some understanding over the course of the film. But you can see
Mhm.
then how that's passed, and a lot of this is about like generational trauma. This movie,
Yeah.
um,
Totally.
but you can see how generational violence is passed as well because his son is a bully,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And
Matthew, I think is his name.
yeah, so his son is a bully, but played by Luke Speakman. But Brolin is as well. Brolin leads with aggression and violence and different things in his interactions with the teacher Justine Gandy. So yeah,
Yes. Just.
I found that to be interesting.
Yeah. It was very, and I found this kind of interesting that I don't know if you knew. I think Pedro Pascal was originally supposed to be cast in that role instead of Josh Brolin.
Yes.
I think he had to leave because there was I think it was during like all the Hollywood strikes, and then like kind of came up close with Fantastic Four shooting, which I think totally would have made sense. He's coming off of playing Joel in Last of Us, and it would have been this like rugged guy role who was like looking out for his kid, and it's kind of been like a post-apocalyptic, not necessarily environment, but very scary. Like normal rules don't apply anymore. Kind of.
Plus, I feel like he's contractually obligated to be in every movie at this point.
Yeah, I know, right? You would think He's probably got like 5 already this year that I've seen.
Materialist, Eddington, Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Trying to think of any others. I'm sure there have been. I've just forgotten them. Gladiator 2 last year.
Yes. This would have been another one.
Yep. So I actually really love the casting of Josh Brolin here.
Brolin does a great job, though. Yeah,
I think he's fantastic in this role. Pedro Pascal is like everybody just loves him so much, you know, like to be that asshole.
I know.
Which Brolin is here and does quite well.
Yeah.
Brolin can have that look, that asshole look about him, you know.
Totally. That Thanos
pretty well.
Sneer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I thought he was great here. Let's score this thing. We struggled with this, Ben. Before we jump into spoilers.
I think we're on the lower end of most people's like initial reactions.
Yeah.
But still nothing. I still thought it was solid, so I'd be fine with giving it 4 out of 5.
Yeah, we're 4 out of 5, leaning towards like solid maybe 4 1/4 or something if we do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's really good, but I don't know that this is going to be the type of horror movie that I'm going to watch on a fairly regular basis. You know what I mean?
It's a really solid horror movie, like right before Halloween season. Is what I'll say. It was good timing for that.
I'm a horror fan. There are horror movies that I watch, you know, definitely more than once. Slashers, Conjuring, things like that, right? And then some others as well, like Hereditary, that type of thing. I don't know if this will fall into that category for me, but it's still really good time, and I can't see myself being like, nah, you'll hate this movie to anybody that asks about it. So
no, not at all.
Yeah,
I'm kind of with you.
We go 4 out of 5, 4 1/4. Okay. From this point forward, spoilers. If you haven't seen the film yet, maybe just put us on mute and leave the video playing, so that would really help. But other than that, you probably want to see the film before you watch the rest, because this movie is I feel like, Ben, I guess this is a good point to start. The more you go into this blind about what happens, the more you're probably going to enjoy it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say so. It's definitely an unexpected experience for sure.
And there are some movies where it doesn't really matter if you know some of the plot, you know, I don't know, Transformers. I feel like we all kind of know what's coming there. But
you know, getting into.
Yeah. But this one, the less you know, the better off you are heading in, because there are little things that unfold throughout the film. I did mention earlier that I think one character got maybe a little too much screen time, and it's not because of the actor, because Austin Abrams is great. He's been in some really cool things, including Walking Dead, where I enjoy him in that. But I do feel like the James character, kind of our crack addict or whatever, maybe gets a little too much screen time here. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a little bit of, you know, I mean, if you've seen Breaking Bad, there's the second lead is like a kind of drug addicted character who kind of becomes your anti-hero. I think there's a little bit of that, trying to, and also you know, point of views allowed them to do that more. But yeah, I think it was kind of trying to change perspectives, trying to give, you know, a little credence to it's just the experiences of, you know, people you might not necessarily think of as heroes. Or as, you know, even important to the story, but he, you know, ultimately was, and especially with in relation to the cop guy, I kind of forget his name now.
He is Paul.
Yes, Paul. I guess on the meth guys, kind of, I think my favorite moment was was with the pretty funny kind of climactic fight scene, I guess, at the end, where he keeps getting thrown down to the ground by Josh Brolin's character, and comedically keeps coming back up and up.
He's basically Super Cena.
And I guess I guess that's a decent kind of segue if you want into the exactly right. Every time you think he's down, he just keeps coming up. But yeah, I think that whole kind of shift to slapsticky almost in a way was obviously intentional, but pretty interesting choice, and I think a little jarring for me. Maybe that's why it didn't fully land with me, but I kind of mentioned how at the beginning it was like the scariest jump scares I've experienced in such a long time in a movie, and I think that's by design, like this really creepy kind of like Ari Aster, kind of just like feel, like atmosphere to a movie, like horror, like, just like terrifying all the time, and you never know what's going to happen. And then you kind of see this shift like almost entirely in genre to like kind of slapstick comedy drama, I want to say. I don't know.
There are some genuinely funny moments in this movie.
Yeah.
Including some that I don't know if, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, am I supposed to be laughing right now? Or finding this funny?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the scene with the forks. Where, like, are we because I found that to be kind of humorous. Like the way that they just like go to work on their own face, like at the fork, like, and
Totally. It was, but I feel like it's good to gauge, or not, maybe it's not a good gauge, but usually the way I end up reacting is based on the rest of like the theater at the time.
Fair. Were they laughing during that, or was it?
I feel like that one not as much. It was like, it was like very jarring. But honestly, I definitely can see why it'd be funny. It's like, what the hell are they doing? It's like very so like
sudden. It was
awkward.
Just like,
sudden.
She like snaps the twig, and then all of a sudden they just pick up forks and like start stabbing themselves in the face.
Right.
But there are genuinely funny moments in this film, especially in the third act. Like the scene where all the kids get out of the basement and they're chasing her is funny. Like where she's running and then here comes the whole crowd after her. It's
that final kind of scene climax was great for me. It was hilarious.
It's funny until it's like uber violent and maybe gross out for a few of you. Depending on how much you can deal with like somebody's like jaw hinges being ripped apart and whatnot and all of that. But
there's a few of those moments like, where it's very gory and it kind of seems like it's for comedic effect in a way.
That one definitely was. And I think like the villain in this film is really campy and over the top.
Yeah.
So I feel like they make her demise the same. Right. And I think that was probably an intentional choice.
Right.
I guess the question I was thinking about when I left this was like, we know that she like Gladys is her name, Aunt Gladys.
Yes.
She's the villain, right? The she's the antagonist, but like aren't a lot of the characters in this villains as well? At least until they're not,
100%.
Like
I feel like with even the Josh Brolin character, he's sort of like if he were in any other kind of film, off the bat, he would definitely be like kind of a evil guy.
Josh Brolin's character is someone, Archer is his name, Archer Graff. He can't process anger, right? So he lashes out.
Right.
And we see that throughout the movie. Alden Ehrenreich's character, Paul, is the classic like cop who seems like a good guy, but does some bad shit as a cop.
Yeah. Even on the job, as we see.
On the job, and then outside of being a cop, he like cheats on his wife, girlfriend, whatever she is. I don't know.
Right.
Who's also kind of crazy, like, because she just comes and attacks, Justine in the liquor store. Because where else would Justine be other than home?
And then that's the last you see of her. The rest of the film.
Yeah, and we're done.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
There goes that strand.
What was your favorite death in the movie?
I was just thinking about the scene where she kind of turns like Benedict Wong's character, the principal.
Yeah.
And how that even was like, it was really gruesome, but everything preceding that was like kind of goofy and funny, like campy, sort of like, okay, what's this crazy woman doing in here? Like we all clearly know she's gonna do something bad and horrible because we know what's gonna happen. Like we've already seen how he gets turned and everything, or what happens when he gets turned, but seeing it happen and how it unfolds, I think was, and making that whole thing like pretty ridiculous and funny was definitely an interesting choice as well.
How he goes running down the street and Josh Brolin's character is like chasing him, right? It was Brolin's character, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, here comes a vehicle and just like,
I know,
doesn't just hit him, but like basically splatters him. Like,
Right. Like that's a pretty funny death, like all
it
things
is.
considered, you know, objectively. There's
That
definitely
was
some gruesome ones too. Like the way he kills his husband, like just, you know, slamming
yeah.
him with his head. That's pretty brutal.
Yes,
So
like
it's all over the board, all across.
it is. Like there are. This is definitely a roller coaster type movie where you get some like
Hmm.
dramatic scenes where you're dealing with things like child abuse or neglect or whatever, and
Yeah.
then into just random like super violence that is like so much it's campy almost,
Yeah. Right.
but still really gory. And
Hmm.
think like 80s slashers at their peak, right? Not in the time where like the
Yeah.
satanic panic
Totally.
years where the editing had to basically hide everything because people would freak out, but
Yeah.
like when they actually showed stuff, it's kind of like that. It's
Hmm.
I think the movie's good fun. I'm almost talking myself into a little bit higher score,
Yeah.
but
Right. The more you think about it,
yeah, it is good
I mean,
fun.
first impressions maybe
Mhm.
were just like, what happened? Like, what was this? Take a little time to absorb, but yeah, I think it's definitely impressive how it kind of is able to maintain that level of, you know, kind of different vibes, different atmospheres, like very gory, you know, gruesome stuff, like you said, but also being kind of campy throughout is definitely impressive because you don't see a lot of movies like that.
Thematically, what was your biggest takeaway? Like what the message, quote unquote. Like what'd you walk away saying this movie is
Yeah,
trying to say?
I think maybe like the strongest kind of maybe symbolism stuff for me was, I think just seeing like the kid was, I think he was played pretty well, all things considered, for like a child actor.
Oh yeah,
His
very
name again,
much so.
Alex, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just sort of seeing like, obviously, you know, something's wrong over time. Like he's living in that house with weird shit going on. You know, something's not right. But then seeing how it's kind of like he plays a part in the events, you know, unfolding, and a pretty critical part at the end. And actually like sending the kids there, and then
Yeah.
kind of seeing that, you know, obviously it's not his fault, but he's still making it happen, and seeing that, you know, as a kid, and he just has like no choice to do the bidding, you know, of his aunt, you know, then ends up being like a witch and like the main villain of the movie. And yeah, it was just seeing him kind of go through that and not like be like fully, because all he wants to do is save his parents at the end of the day, right? And he kind of has
Mm-hmm.
to sacrifice those kids to do that. It's kind of like a tale as old as time in a lot of like horror movies, but just seeing it like so upfront, you know, and like Justine like trying to look out for him when he's clearly like distressed at school,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that he has to like do these evil things. Yeah, it was really powerful to just see that character kind of go through that and then eventually be like vindicated in a way. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that last shot of like the little girl who like tackled her down when they were chasing her, like she looked like a freaking like free safety, like chasing down like
Oh
a guy
yeah.
trying to score with like no time left on the clock, you know. When she got him, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh shit, let's go. Like it definitely, you know, you feel vindicated, you feel like a nice like rush of adrenaline. Seeing a little kid tackle like an old lady like that is pretty
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like you don't expect to feel like that after, but a movie like that will definitely make you feel that type of way. So I thought that
Yeah.
was cool.
I loved the Alex character as well, played by Carrie Christopher, quite well, especially child
Yeah,
actor. Like
there you go.
that's a tough role to
I know.
really pull.
I think the child actors are definitely leveling up in
They
recent years.
are, because this is one where like you have to be very subtle in this performance because this character is also
Yeah,
hiding something the whole time, you know,
right,
and you
right.
don't learn until the third act really what that is. To me, the biggest takeaway is that trauma has lasting effects, and we're so used to, Ben, in movies like this, seeing all the impacted characters, in this case, like the kids, right? At the
Mhm.
end, they just snap out, or they wake up, and then everything's fine. They hug their parents, and
Right,
everything's good.
they're fine.
And the very end of this, like, makes it clear, like, that isn't what happens here. These
Yeah,
kids, like,
exactly.
are saved, but they're not okay. They
Mhm.
I think the very last line of the film by the narrator is like some of them even started talking again a couple years later, or something like that.
Right, as opposed to
Like,
the rest of them,
yeah, and
you know.
like the rest of them just were out of, like, they were basically not them, definitely not themselves anymore, right? Well, I guess put it that way. But
Yeah, I think the parents had to be institutionalized, right? Because they were like completely mute and like devoid of all life.
And I think that it's a really, I think, important statement about what trauma can do to people. I don't think that it's an accident that we saw imagery of guns a couple times in this, including, and then the central point of this is a classroom.
Touched on. The name of the movie is Weapons. It's the title.
Right. So I think that there's a statement happening about, that for sure, which might get people riled up if they are paying enough attention to kind of see it. But
I bet.
But I think that's an important statement to make, because like when these things happen, like you're not just okay after a while. Like I think that's the type of thing that stays with you.
Right.
And luckily, like I've never been a part of that, but a lot of people have, and a shockingly high number of people have. And I think this film is about seeing some of the effects of that. Also seeing how we pass violence and we pass anger down through generations, and how as a society we don't do well at dealing with things we don't understand.
Oh yeah, totally.
So I think all of those things are happening.
What did you think of the what did you think of the, like, how did you make the whole, like, Josh Brolin, I guess it starts with the scene where he, figures out how these kids are really being used, by this curse, like from the on Gladys, right? And essentially, being like categorized as weapons. Like, what did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, where he's in the basement, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So I thought that scene was,
or I guess when he finds out that they're like, I think he calls them heat-seeking missiles, right?
Yes.
I think that's the words he used.
He has this like epiphany where I think he realizes what's actually happening. What did you feel like that character had like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like regret or wanting to seek penance for how he acted, or just like, okay, I was wrong, let's do this now. Where did you feel like he was?
I don't know, because you're like referring to kind of how he acts at the like PTA meetings.
Well, so early on he acts like he's very angry and all that. And then, but when he figures out in the house,
he definitely thinks she's like a witch.
Yeah, but then when he figures out what's actually happening, when they're in the house, right, and they sort of form this unlikely team up. Go to the house. He goes to the basement of the house and sees like all these kids there, and they're just standing there, and they're turned into these weapons. And really to fuel Gladys, right? Because she's dying, and she feeds off the life energy of these kids to be, okay. I a couple things in that scene. One, like he's just like, "Are you? Oh, you're not my kid. Next one. You're not my kid. Next one." Right? It's still very centered on like himself, and I get it. Like you want to find your kid. I totally understand that. He doesn't even find the kid because Gladys is laying in wait, right? So that unfolds, and then that whole scene takes off. What really kind of struck me was like he goes to get Julie Garner, right, and he kind of picks her up, right, and then it's just like, brush her off, are you okay? And then it's like, let's just move on. I feel like that would have been a really good point to be like, just acknowledge the fact that I was really wrong about this.
I know. Yeah, you would think.
Even like, really
just
quickly.
Say pretty self-centered.
And I think that's true for a lot of people. I think we're seeing that now, Ben. Like a lot of people are maybe starting to realize the error in some of their thoughts on the last little bit, and they're not acknowledging that though. It's just like, oh well,
right?
And moving on.
Too little, too late.
Yeah, so I do think there's some of that too. I think this is one of those movies that, like, if you do watch it a second or third time, you're going to pick up more and more. I think it's very intelligently put together in terms of what it has to say, and I almost feel like it has too much to say over the course of 2 hours.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, right. Like its runtime doesn't really account for how much is all really in there. Sure.
My last thing I want to ask you is like, where are you at on horror movies? Like, do you like old school horror movies that are like an hour and a half, or like the
Yeah,
new trend is 2 hours, 10
I
minutes,
know.
like this one? Where are you at on that?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think there's definitely. I mean, I guess counter to what we just said, like there's a lot going on. There's a lot to say, but I think that last kind of half hour of bloat definitely, I think, is to the detriment of the film overall, right? Especially if it's maybe this one not as much because you kind of have that. There's a lot of like narrative stuff going on. There's a lot of metaphor and commentary, sort of about our current, social climate, that sort of thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I think it really kind of laid into the like kind of typical, horror movie arcs, horror like beats that we see.
Yeah.
A lot of jump scares, a lot of just like creepy, like someone's being framed, but they're not the real like reason that something's going down. And then you have like
Mm-hmm.
this mysterious character that's like introduced and was like slowly hinted at with like weird imagery and like that creepy shot we get of her in like the woods. Like
Yeah.
all of the jump scares really were kind of like her face, more or less, like with like the crazy like clown like red makeup lipstick.
A little bit. It had a little bit of Pennywise to it.
Exactly. Pennywise, I think we mentioned like long legs
Mm-hmm.
kind of brought out a lot of like similar
Yep.
sentiments and feelings from seeing that imagery. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's that sort of movie, like like kind of like a classic like Scream, like hour and a half is good. I think most movies should be around an hour and a half personally, but hour 45 is good.
How could you have managed The Brutalist in an hour and a half? Like,
Right, that's the thing. Like that's totally different.
Right, totally
like
different genre. So
yeah,
I'm torn on this, and that's why I asked you, because there is part of me that yearns for like the days of like, okay, 10-20 minutes to get all the kids to the camp or introduce them all and show off the nightmares and whatever, right? And then you introduce the slasher again at some point in there, and then it's how they survive or don't, right? And until you get the final girl or whatever, and that's the movie.
Right.
Exactly. There's something fun about that. But I also like this current trend towards elevated horror in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Where we've seen horror movies really have more to say. And I think to like the Conjuring series, Hereditary, Lighthouse, things like that as really kind of leading the way in that regard. And then, so yeah, even into the new like Scream movies, which I feel like go for more, they're longer, and movies like Longlegs, etc. You still do see some throwbacks like Hard Eyes, Abigail, that type of thing. Those are definitely throwbacks.
And I like those kind of throwbacks, like
But I think this one, which isn't a classic slasher, right, or anything like that, it's definitely making a statement. Like you can tell, like these kids they all disappear at 217, and you can tell like all this is metaphorical, right? Like we're gonna get at something bigger here.
Right. I feel like movies nowadays, they kind of you kind of are obligated to, almost in a way. I feel like if you don't, and you're purely just going in for full entertainment value with like almost zero acknowledgement of anything else, it almost feels like neglectful. And I think that's just sort of where we are, kind of as a people nowadays.
And I think movies have kind of always had something to say, including slashers, right, back in the day. But it's just done a little differently now, maybe a little more in depth,
more on the nose.
Yeah. And you're right, more on the nose in a lot of ways. Although this movie, I don't feel like it was terribly on the nose a whole lot. I think it was pretty subtle throughout. But
I guess with me, I think as long as it kept going, it just felt like I was seeing a movie that I've seen like dozens of times. Like, the longer it kept going, it was sort of like, oh, okay, we sort of know how this is going to end. The big bad was revealed like kind of halfway through the movie and didn't really add to, nothing was really added to her. Like we knew she was going to be bad. We knew she was creating all this chaos. Still a solid villain.
Two scenes she's in that creeped me out a little bit. So even though one of them kind of made me laugh, but one was the kitchen scene with Benedict Wong and his partner in the film.
That was one of the best ones.
She asks for a drink, but she wants a bowl. And And you see the process of her like taking the ribbon and taking the hair and all this stuff and winding it around the twig and then snapping and all of what it does, right? In that moment.
Yeah.
So you can that's where you get the understanding of what's happening. She's a witch and all these things, which I think we all kind of knew, but this is where we get clarification of that. And then the one where she's at the dinner table with the parents, Alex's parents, and does the same thing, and the forks and stabbing themselves that whole thing was designed to make Alex be compliant, right? And to do what he's told without saying anything. So
yeah, there's a ton of like control stuff and like imagery for sure, especially with like kids.
Yeah, I found those two scenes with her to be great. Last thing before we get out of here is one creative thing I love, Ben, is in this had nothing to do with the movie itself, but the marketing around it. So my theater started this movie yesterday or 2 days ago when I went to see it at 2:17.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
And I looked at it first, my dumb ass, and I'm like, why is this movie starting at 2:17? Like it never starts at that. It always starts on a 5, And
little did you know.
And then I get there and I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, I've only seen the trailer like 8 times,
Right.
So
that's still pretty funny though. It's
kind of cool.
It might start like 8:50 or something.
Yeah. Oh, it's because you didn't go at the cool time. 2:17.
I know. Well, I didn't know they were watching the movie already and then scheduling the show times. That's cool.
Right. So yeah, that was kind of cool. But okay, we gave this thing again 4 out of 5. We could be nudged slightly higher. It is like fun time. You're gonna enjoy yourself. I think if you like horror movies. It's
a solid movie.
Yeah,
it's a nice like kind of end to the summer. I feel like summer's been like a little light for movies compared to historically, summer movies.
I would agree. What's been your best movie this summer so far?
Oh man, I think I definitely liked Eddington more than most. I know we talked about that a little bit.
I liked it too, quite a bit.
I don't know.
Where are you at on Superman? Or
honestly, I think Superman might be right up there.
It was really good. Yeah, it was very good. I liked the Mission Impossible movie. I didn't love it. Jurassic.
I heard the Final Destination was good too.
Oh, Final Destination was great. That movie was a lot of fun. And it's on digital now.
Summer.
Yep, it was in May, so that counts.
You said Jurassic World was no good.
It was like it was fine.
Yeah,
it was unnecessary, quite honestly.
Right.
So, August is a sneaky month. I feel like action movies in August can be really letdowns, but horror in August can be really surprising in a good way. So, the one exception to that is I have high hopes for Nobody 2, which Bob Odenkirk he's great, and these types of movies are super fun. So, because you don't go in expecting a lot, right? And you just get like chaos and fun. Lot of horror coming down the pike. So
yes,
we will have a lot of coverage of those here on the channel, including the next Conjuring, the final Conjuring movie, and every other horror movie coming here in the next couple months leading into spooky season. So, all right. Again, 4 out of 5 for us. For Weapons, it was a good time. Go see it. We will be back next time with I think Nobody 2 next weekend. We'll be doing a review of. So we'll see who's on that and get that going. So all right. Thanks everybody and have a good day.
See ya.